there were a lot of people that were actually upset or angry or disappointed, whatever word you want to use, that I wasn't going to react to or even talk about Jason Aldean's Try That in a Small Town. And a lot of people thought that it was because I didn't want to talk about anything controversial, or that I was scared to talk about anything controversial. And the truth is, it has nothing to do with that. I worked in the industry for a little while, and I know that in the early 2000s that, you know, mainstream country music, or country pop as I like to call it, was what started this whole issue with the basic cookie cutter mainstream music that we have right now. You know, the mainstream production companies were able to create a sound that would work for the entire genre. They can take any artist who could sing decently and have that sound work with all of them. So it was a way to make so much money for basically anybody that they can bring in. They didn't even have to write their own songs. The studios would do it for them. You know, they would direct the videos. It became what we now know as mainstream music. So that led to this. I try not to support country music because of that, or at least the mainstream country music because of that. That was my reason for not even talking about that song. That brings us to this song, which is supposed to be way more controversial, which is Tom MacDonald and Adam Calhoun's American Flags. So I want to preface this by saying that, you know, Tom has his opinions. I have my opinions. We all have our own opinions. Some of us will all agree on certain things, and some of us will disagree on other things. Just like I will probably agree with some of what Tom says in this, and I'll probably disagree with some of what Tom says in this. That doesn't mean that we all have to hate each other or fight about it. We all should be able to disagree, but talk about our take on it, and at least understand. We don't have to agree, but at least understand that other person. And I know Tom is very much against mainstream music, which I totally am cool with, and I commend him for that. And he is also about being against division, being against you know, the government trying to divide us. And I think that's important too. Like I said, I know people who literally have disowned family because of just they don't have the same political beliefs, which I think is asinine. And I know the whole story, and the reasoning was ridiculous. But I digress. Today we're reacting to Tom MacDonald and Adam Calhoun, American Flags. I wanted to start from the beginning. I already did one of his earlier songs, and I wanted to keep going. But this one intrigued me a lot, just because of the content. And so we're going to get into it. Please make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It helps the channel out a lot. As always, make sure that you support the artist. That's what this channel is about. Tom MacDonald has almost 4 million subscribers at this point. Make sure you like his video. And for those of you that are new to the channel, what we do here is I watch the video, I interject here and there as I see fit, and then we talk about the message, we talk about the music. Right now, my Patreon is going to be free until August 6th. So anything that gets posted as a YouTube member only video will be for free on my Patreon for a limited time. So go ahead and check that out. I appreciate people going and, you know, helping out the channel in that way. Again, it's not expected or required. It just would help the channel out a lot. All right, a lot of talking, but I felt both of those things I discussed were important. So without further ado, let's get into this. And this is Tom MacDonald and Adam Calhoun, American Flags. How's that vision on top of a tank? All right, I put my headphones on. All right, here we go.
We're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. American flags.
Starting off with the hook.
American flags. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. I ain't never gonna pretend that I give a damn. Anybody who's offended, come get it.
Okay. Hold up, Tom. Shit. Again, I've only heard one other Tom MacDonald song, so I don't know a lot about his rapping chops. I just know that he was able to keep rhythm and stuff. But I heard a lot of people complaining that he can't like fast rap and stuff, right? Already looks like he's doing that. I want to talk about the hook real fast. It's got that bouncy beat. It's got that, you know, kind of almost like the Bay Area. I'm from the Bay Area, so I'm just talking about what I know. The Bay Area bouncy beat with the, you know, the the super low end and stuff. Really cool. You know, talking about red, white, and blue, has the red, white, and blue flashing and the borders here. So far it sounds sick. Let's see what's so controversial, Tom.
Every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. American flags. American flags.
Nova killing it with the video.
All you're gonna see is American flags.
I ain't never gonna pretend that I give a damn. Anybody who's offended, come get it, we throwing hands. Anybody not trying to make America great again, you a punk, you a clown, better know where I stand. I'm the white boy with the middle fingers in the air, dog.
We don't give a what.
100 white boys gonna hold me down anywhere, dog.
We think that you suck.
My patriots the craziest, they ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you really wanna taste of this, no safety tip, just aim the stick and spray the clip. I pray you miss, cause if you don't, they gon' go wacko. Automatic gun smoke like tobacco. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or a they, them, there's these, that, those. I ain't never gonna take a knee for the
Okay, Tom. Okay, Tom. For the sake of not having to go back and listen to it, because I can hear clearly what he's saying, obviously, but I'm just gonna pull up the lyrics because I don't want to have to go back and read it like I said before. So, I mean, he mentions people being soft, right? I think that's on both sides of whatever political issue you want to talk about. I think that's both sides think the other side is too sensitive, and yet both sides are too sensitive. It's a fact, and I know each side is going to disagree with that, but it's a fact. We have become very oversensitized for everything. I think we're default offended when we should kind of think about what's being said in the context and who is saying what. Anybody not trying to make America great again? You a punk, you clown. Okay, yep. We all know Tom's stance on a lot of things. Very much a conservative mindset, so that doesn't surprise me. And there's a lot of people who believe that, anybody who isn't 100% like America is the greatest country, or they have something else to say, that like he's saying, you punk, you clown. I'm a white boy with middle fingers in the air. We don't give a what. You don't sometimes those lyrics make me laugh, right? Like, I'm talking about not giving a shit, but yet he won't say the word. I don't know. Those things make me laugh sometimes when artists do that. 100 white boys gonna hold me down. We think that you suck. Yeah. My patriots, the craziest. They ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you want to taste this, no safety tip. The same mistakes is ready to clip. I pray you miss. Just talking about he's gonna fight anybody who disagrees with him. Automatic gun smoke like tobacco. This is the one. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or they, them, there's these, that, those. Again, Tom has been pretty vocal on social media, Instagram, YouTube shorts, etc., about his thoughts on the, I'll say that the trans community. I mean, that's a viewpoint for sure. Again, like I said, there's going to be stuff where I agree with him and there's going to be stuff where I don't agree with him. I think that people are a little bit too quick to say, oh, science, science, science. When there's science on both sides, just like everything, there's science on both sides that can confirm or deny each side's views. So, people a lot of times get mad at me for not picking a side on certain things. That's because nothing is black or white. Just because there's a spectrum, right, for everything. It's either you agree with something or you don't agree with something. That's not necessarily the case. You can agree with this aspect, but disagree with other parts of it, right? There's a whole, this thing is large, there's just, trans acceptance. Then there's also like, should we have a separate section for trans people in sports because of the biological makeup of human beings, right? There's that whole argument. There's a whole thing here, right? And people just generalize for things like this for songs and stuff because there's such a limited amount of space to talk about these things. But I'm just kind of expanding on the idea. Okay, I see what's coming up next. Let's talk about
They
that.
gon' go wacko, automatic gun smoke like tobacco. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or a they, them, there's these, that, those. I ain't never gonna take a knee for the anthem, smack 'em. I don't give a damn, can't stand 'em. Gang full of randoms, fan with a handgun. Run up in your mansion, leave it all abandoned. I was raised to be brave, to the grave, United States. We love the country that they've been corrupting. Go woke and go broker if you ain't awake.
My people love this country and we're under attack.
He talked about the anthem thing. You know, I think my stance on that is what they were fighting for wasn't necessarily a wrong or a bad thing. I think the way it went about was kind of again, they're looking at one side of things. Just like in Jason Aldean's video where they're like burning the flag, right? I have family that was in the military, and I know that the perspective there is that the American flag stands for like freedom and soldiers that have died for us and all that stuff. And if you're kneeling, right, that means you're also, even though you're denouncing some of the atrocities that might have happened in America, you're also denouncing the people who have fought for our freedoms. And I understand that, again, a wide spectrum of what the flag means, right? But I think if anything, like you could, I don't even know what the right way to have gone about that was, but my point here is that when you do something like that, yes, that's your freedom for basically freedom of speech, right? To talk about that or to want to bring notice to that, but also you have to remember that there are consequences for every action. So again, I don't have a problem with them fighting for basically like what am I trying to say? Systemic racism and all that stuff. But there's also negative connotations to kneeling for the flag, right? Because there are going to be people, again, who are going to be offended or feel like you are disrespecting soldiers, troops, all that stuff. And there's a lot of people who have family members who have died for trying to fight for the country. So again, there's two sides to the coin. All right, let's keep going.
Go woke and go broker if you ain't awake.
My people love this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you
the banning us, cancel us for speaking the facts. I'm not really going to cover the speaking the facts because the definition of facts has been greatly skewed the last decade. So facts, I don't know if they're speaking facts. I think they're speaking opinions that have a lot of factual evidence to back them up. But they ban us, they cancel us. I hate this cancel culture right now, especially when it has to do with, for instance, let's say celebrities that have done something 10 years ago or tweeted something 10 years ago, and people automatically want to cancel the celebrity, right? It's like, do you realize a lot can change in 10 years? Somebody can grow a lot in 10 years. Just using me as an example, I wasn't married 10 years ago. I had no kids 10 years ago. I was still working my way to finish college 10 years ago. Like, I was a totally different person 10 years ago, and yet people hold on to something that was done 10 years ago. I think there are exceptions to this rule, obviously, like every rule, right? Like, but for the most part, most of these things that people hold as like, this person, you shouldn't support them, is way over the top. So I'm totally against cancel culture, for lack of a better term, and I agree with Tom on that one. That people are trying to cancel for way too many things.
USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags.
Hey, the beat on this hook though is crazy, man.
American flags.
They get a tank though, bro. Where's this filmed at?
Got that AKA all Draco, leave you stankin', break your ankles. I'm not hearing what you saying. Hit the pavement, now you seeing angels. It get dangerous, go against.
All right, Adam, hold up. We're gonna talk about the rhyme scheme right now. Again, it's a bouncy rhythm right here. Got the AKAR. You're talking about guns. And we're just covering every like major topic right here.
Got that AKA Draco, leave you stankin', break your ankles. I'm not hearing what you saying. Hit the pavement, now you seeing angels. It get dangerous, go against the Patriots. Got all the bangers. Take a look inside my closet. You gon' see way more than hangers, hammers like I do construction. Ammo, I'ma shoot at something. Why you think we own these guns? So we could just go do some hunting. You must not pay close attention. Government, they want division. Only treason if you lose. I guarantee we come out winning. Let my flag fly high like eagles. I would die for all my people. You can't change me with procedures. I'm about freedom, you about evil. Leave you hanging from the ceiling like chandeliers in cathedrals. Never have the safety on, and when we run out, we just reload.
My people of this country and we're under attack.
Literally a whole verse about guns. I mean, I'm generalizing a lot. But he's talking about looking inside his closet. You're gonna see way more in the hangers. You're gonna see all his guns and shit. I have opinions on guns. I have opinions on gun control. Here's the thing, right? I think everybody's right to, at the very least, be able to have a firearm to protect their family, and in the case of government, being, we want to protect ourselves from our own government is what the basis of that is for, and I still believe in that. I think citizens have the right to protect themselves. I really do. But where I have the issue is people using that freedom and taking advantage of that freedom to, what's the saying? With great power comes great responsibility. You got to be responsible for what you do with your gun and how you go about using that gun. Obviously we're all against bad people using guns for bad things, right? All I know is that we have stuff happening with school shootings and stuff that really need to be discussed, and something needs to be done. Whether it's a gun, I'm not against banning guns, but like gun reform of some kind, or enhancing mental issues or increasing mental health awareness, and changing the way we view mental illness. I think mental illness is broad, right? There's literally like psychotic people, which have to do with mental illness, but there's also people who are depressed and have social anxiety, like myself, who are fine, like wonderful people. And I'm not tooting my own horn here, but fine, wonderful people. They just go through some of these issues. I think part of this is people looking so negatively on mental issues that they automatically give it a negative connotation, when really a lot of us generally go through depression, anxiety, and all that stuff. It's just a matter of the intensity of it and how we react to it. So I think that is a big thing too. I think something needs to be done on both sides, but I don't think it's as drastic as let's get rid of every single gun, or let's put everybody with mental illness in a hospital. No. Again, there's a nice happy medium here. You get where I end up understanding both sides, so therefore I end up in the middle for a lot of these issues, because they're so in depth, and there's so much that affects each side on this one that it's hard to just say this is the right side. Let's continue. Sorry, last thing. I know I'm talking a lot. The Adams verse I really enjoyed, by the way. A lot of, like, for instance, mumble rappers now have the same type of cadence and kind of the same rhyme schemes, but it doesn't hit as hard as when somebody's like rapping intently. Like, you see him feeling it on his face. You see him like getting into it. That's what makes, just like the basics of being a good rapper, is being intense about it.
They cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. American flags. American flags. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. Every time we pull up, you see stars, you see stripes, you see flags on the car.
Bro, how much did they spend on this video?
Every time we pull up, we go hard, we outside, we got flags on our arms that are tatted. time we pull up, we don't care if you mad. We cherish this land, the haters can't get buried in rags. They set fire to old glory, turning fabric to ash. But every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. American flags. American flags. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags.
Was Nova. Good job with that video, Nova. That was sick. That was sick. You know, I think Tom gets a lot of the credit because he's doing the rapping and has the vision and shit, but Nova's good with these videos, man. She knows what to know. They all know what they're doing. There's a lot of people, going to be a lot of people on both sides that are going to be unhappy with me because, like I said, I have things that I agree with on one side and things I agree with on the other side. That's how I am. I look at both sides and the benefits and drawbacks of a lot of the different visions for each of those sides. Look, obviously, Tom really has his beliefs and he will stand by them, obviously, and he will talk about them, obviously. And I can understand how seeing this, you're gonna think, oh, look at these racist white dudes talking about their guns and how they'll shoot you and even something about hanging somebody off a chandelier, right? That's gonna be viewed as racist, I'm sure. And while it may be, I don't know if it is or not. Or I don't know if the intent is to be or not. I'll put it that way. You know, these dudes are fighting for what they think is right. That doesn't mean that it is necessarily right. And it doesn't mean it isn't necessarily right. I commend Tom for being courageous enough to talk about these things and not worrying about what people think. I think a lot of the issue with mainstream artists, most of them, is that, you know, they are too afraid to talk about these things in you know, in fear of losing fans or, you know, discriminating or leaving out a section of a certain fan base. My opinion, though, is if you find something that you are passionate about, like Tom is passionate about all this stuff, it comes out in your music. Like I said, some of us may not agree with what Tom says. I think you can still appreciate his music. I really do. I don't agree with a lot of what he said in this song and a lot of what he says in other songs, but I can still appreciate his music. And I think really that's, besides the whole thing he's talking about, you know, being American and all that stuff, I think that's the biggest takeaway I have of this, is that just because people disagree doesn't mean, even if they're important issues, it doesn't mean that you can't be cordial and you can't talk things out and you can't, like, understand that different perspective. I think that's really all I have to say about it. I think Tom found his niche. I do want to say, I think it's funny that people are calling Tom an American patriot. And a lot of those same people, I'm sure, are against, like, immigration and stuff like that. And yet he's not an American citizen, I don't believe. I'm pretty sure that he is. I know he's Canadian for a fact, but I'm not sure if he, like, got his citizenship or whatever. Anyways, I'm pretty sure, because he was born in Canada, moved to Los Angeles, but it doesn't say anything about whether he is a citizen or not. So I don't know if he is, but my point here is that people are calling him American patriot and true American. He's Canadian, and I don't even think he's an American citizen. I'm not saying that that's a bad or a good thing. I'm just saying that the same people who are, you know, there's a lot of hypocrisy on both sides. I'll say that. That's all I gotta say. All right. If you guys appreciate this video, please make sure that you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And look, I'm all for people discussing, friendly discussion in the comment section about topics like this. I am watching the comment section, and I know political stuff like this could end up getting heated. And if anybody on either side is being irrational, if they're being, you know, if anybody's, like, harassing anybody or, you know, just all around being ferocious in the comments, I will delete you. So I'm going to put that disclaimer out right now, but I want you guys to discuss these things. What do you guys think about what Tom is saying? And What's the next Tom MacDonald song I should listen to? I appreciate the support. Thank you so much. And please do remember that good vibes are contagious.